You guys find out anyhow, so I got to go through it. He ran 340s or 325 yard back and forth, and knee was irritated, so obviously he stopped. But like we talked about yesterday, he'll go through our walkthroughs, and he'll be out there, through practice, and he'll get his conditioning in between and his treatment in between.
Is there any concern about that knee? I mean, because it hasn't subsided?
Well, that's one of the reasons why he's not out there practicing with the team. I mean, you got to be in certain shape to go through a practice, and that knee after 3 sprints or back and forth couldn't go any further. So hopefully with treatment it gets better and he gets in football shape and he's out there ready to play with his teammates.
Mike, I mean, this is why you want guys here, obviously, because this is the type of thing in the off season you could deal with because it would come up because of the stuff you guys are working on. Right?
Correct.
Is this stuff that would keep him out of practice? I mean, would it totally keep him out of practice right now? This knee, if he had passed the test, would he have been able to practice with it, or?
Well, if you can't keep on running after 3 sprints, it's you guys. I think you guys know the answer to that.
Mike, just to be clear, he had started the test? He was being timed on the
Yes, yeah. He was going to try to pass the test today, and after his 3rd one, and he was doing well. He had running really well and had to stop.
Have you considered the possibility he just can't pass the test and won't pass the test?
Oh, he'll pass the test when he gets in football shape. Yeah, he'll be able to do that. Yeah, he's a fast guy. He did very good the first time. He did it easily.
So you're sure he can do this? You have no doubts that he can do it, that he can pass it?
Well, he did it the first time.
Just wondering, how long does it drag on? Is there a point where you just put him in pads anyway?
Possibly. You just have to stick around.
Does he need to get this knee checked out by doctors or anything?
What's that?
Does he need to get the knee checked out by doctors?
Well, don't you think we check those knees out every day? Yeah, that's why he's having treatment.
Look, Coach, not to belabor this whole
thing. No, you are belaboring it, but go ahead.
We're not going to be out here in week 10 and this guy's going to be running this test, obviously. I mean, at some point you're going to...
Well, just hopefully he's in shape. You got to be in football shape. It's like somebody spraining an ankle. You sprain an ankle and you can't run, you can't practice. Just like if you can't, if your knee's bothering you and you can't go out there and run, then you can't practice. So he's got to get in football shape. When he's in football shape and he's ready to go, he'll practice with his teammates.
Adam, Kimo, and Kedrick, on my count, have probably got about 500 snaps together through the first 5 days of training camp, developing a chemistry. Given the uncertain situation with Al, how confident are you of that as a line to go with if you had to go?
I'm very confident. That's what you do. You practice the guys that are in football shape and are doing what they can to help your football team. I like your question, by the way. That was a good question. I like talking about some of the other guys that have been here practicing very well.
Can I follow that? Because 2 of those guys did not play last year, and there's always questions about how strong they can come back. You've been satisfied with what you've seen in those 2?
Yeah, they have to get in football shape, and like you mentioned, they've been here for a year and didn't play last year, and really working out here 2 times a day to get themselves back into football shape. But until you actually put the pads on and do football-related drills, you don't know for sure. But both guys have done exceptionally well, and hopefully they just keep on getting better shape.
Coach, are you happy with the bond that Donovan McNabb is forming with receivers in practice? Are you really sensing that they're getting on the same page and dialed in at this point?
Well, anytime a quarterback comes in a new system, it takes some time, and sometimes it takes years. So it's an ongoing process. Donovan's done everything we've asked him to do, through the OTAs and, hooking up with these wide receivers. We had a few guys that were out, which were, they were a little bit behind. But, this is why you have camp, to get in that type of shape and get the timing down. Yeah, a little bit. We did a couple hours of meetings instead, and I let them out a little bit earlier. And I told them it was their vacation. Welcome back to work. But, yeah, we did let them out a little bit earlier last night.
Rex Grossman looked pretty good out there today. Had a late interception, but made several nice throws. Is that largely, a familiarity with the scheme, or is that just a quarterback who's been around the game having a good practice?
Well, Rex is very comfortable with the system. He was in the system for a year when he was at Houston, and Rex is having a good camp. Yeah, he's a student of the game. Obviously, he's played a lot of games in the NFL, and he had a good practice last couple of days.
Hey, Mike, Jim's shown a lot of looks out there and likes to bring a lot of guys and all that.
offensive side of the ball, how hard, not just necessarily in practice, but when you're in a game against a team like that, how much can that throw off your timing and how disruptive?
Well, in the first week, you have installation every day, so you have a lot of new things that the offense is putting in, a lot of new things the defense is putting in. Usually in the first week, everything's a little bit chaotic because you're trying to get a lot of repetition, a lot of new things. And then the second week, you kind of isolate it down where you get a little bit more of a game plan and kind of see what you're the best at or what the players are doing that they feel very comfortable with. So it's an ongoing process. You have some days are really good, some days are bad, but you got to try to work through it as a team, and that's what we're doing.
Mike, why do you think more and more teams are going with a 3-4 base, and what attracted you to a 3-4 base?
From an offensive perspective, I thought it kept, if you had the personnel, first of all, that I thought it kept you a little bit more off balance. You really weren't sure who that extra guy was going to be, who that fourth guy was. We're in a four-man front, except for a few zone blitzes. You knew which four guys were coming. And you brought 6 guys or 5 guys. Basically, you knew what the coverage was. So the three-man front, at least from my perspective, puts a little bit more pressure on offenses.
Mike, during the offseason, you wanted to see Clinton in better shape. 5 days into training camp now, is he running and is he in the shape that you had hoped he would?
Yeah, I've been very impressed with Clinton, how he's handled himself in the offseason. He's in excellent shape coming into this camp. He's very natural at running the ball. He's picks things up very quickly. He's football smart, and he's physical. And so he's done everything that I was hoping that he would do, and hopefully he just keeps on getting better and better as time goes on. But I've been impressed with him.
So you see a clear difference from what you saw on film last year and what you're seeing in practice?
Well, as I shared with you, I shared with Clinton. I thought he had to get his weight down. He had to be in football shape. Really wasn't sure what type of shape he was in a year ago, but I knew he was injured. And like I said, he's in excellent shape. So he's going to give himself a chance to have an excellent year.
How many pounds did he lose?
How many pounds? I don't know. He said he weighed 232, 233. I think he was more than that, but he's in that 218 area right now, and he's looking good.
Galloway, I know Oxy's done a lot in his career. At this stage of his career, has he surprised you at all in what he's done?
Usually people that can run, they can run. I mean, he's been a fast guy, since he's was in high school, and I still think he'd probably run a 4.4 right now if he ran it today, or maybe even under that. He's a guy that takes great care of his body and has been able to maintain his speed, and so that gives him a chance to make our football team and help our football team, and hopefully there's no setback.
Do you see him, I guess, the way he plays evolving a little bit because as he gets older, obviously his speed, you said he had lost a step, but has it changed in any way as a receiver now later in his career?
Well, I think anytime you get in that late 30s, it takes its toll. So hopefully he doesn't wear down and keep on playing like he has.
How are Larry Johnson and Willie kind of doing that same thing at this stage in their career? Do you feel like they're kind of doing some things differently? I don't want to say reinventing themselves, but maybe just kind of adapting as they advance?
Well, I thought Larry and Willie both came in excellent shape, which gives them a chance to have a good year. Now we get a chance to evaluate how well they play, through the preseason games. But I've been very impressed in the first couple of practices and a little bit of not a scrimmage, but through contact on how they've run the football. And it's an evaluation process. Hopefully they don't go back; they keep on going forward. But both guys have given themselves a chance to have a heck of a year.
Mike, how would you compare where the offensive line is now to the state of it when you inherited it back in January?
I can't really speak on when I inherited it. I can tell you, watching film last year, it was musical chairs. I had left tackle, different left guard, different right tackle, different right guard. Anything that was fairly consistent was a center position. So unless you're really with them, it's really hard to speak about them. But I know that I'm very happy with where we're at right now with our offensive line, but we got a lot of work ahead of us too.
Mike, for years it seems like in the receiving corps it's been Santana Moss and everyone else. And there's always been trying to find that one or two guys who can be explosive enough to take the pressure off him. Do you feel like you have a group here and guys in that group that will make their mark?
Well, that's what we'll find out. I think you said what I said a couple days ago. We got Santana, we got a bunch of guys that have ability. Who's going to step forward? I can't tell you who that's going to be. I'm obviously hoping it's somebody. But right now we've got a lot of competition. Even though we have a pecking order in the depth chart, nothing is etched in stone. In fact, not even close to it. So that's why we have camp in these preseason games, to see who makes plays in games and who's consistent in practice.
So it's really tough to say in day 5 who's stepping up, because that still has to be determined in the preseason.
Exactly. It's day by day, and collectively looking at all their practices and all their preseason games, we got to come up with the top 5, 6, 7 guys and make a decision who's going to be on our football team. Right now, we don't know who that is.
What's your assessment on Terrence
being
Austin?
in shape and how impressed you are with the veterans, how in shape they are coming into camp? Is that what frustrates you the most about a player of Albert's pedigree, that he was not in shape?
Well, it's not, enough about Albert. I mean, this is football in general. You know, you work in the off season, you're pros. You come in here in shape, you give yourself a chance to get better. But, you know, we don't have to keep on references back to Albert Hainsworth. That's all football players in the National Football League. That's why you have an off-season program. That's why you have OTAs.
Out of curiosity, when do you watch the film of the morning practice? Is it right immediately afterwards?
Yeah, I'm back there, you know, watching, you know, for about a half hour, 45 minutes. And you guys, it's mandatory for me to come out here. You guys are getting mad at me. If you'd like me to stay up there and watch a little bit more.
Can we come watch it?
You wouldn't want to come out here anyway?
No, of course I would. You guys know me better than that. No, but the players get a little time off too. You know, you figure they're off at 11 and we don't have our meetings at 3:15, so they can go back and relax a little bit. Some guys lift weights, other people getting treatment. They go back to their rooms and then they come back and we have another hour of meetings before we hit our walkthroughs, and then in the evening we have a couple more hours and look at practice of the morning. Oh, who's got the phone?
Sorry.
Cash. It cost you $1,000.
Sorry, Coach.
It's all right.
It was my wife. I'm sorry.
That's all right. We're going to put you through the workout program.
You Coach, would kill me.
He was here.
Oh, yeah.
What's your assessment on Terrence Austin? Yeah, behind the start in secondary today.
Good. I think he's done a great job. You know, a little bit behind because, you know, on the quarter systems in college, he can't come in until his graduating class graduates to, you know, to get any workouts in. And he's really a sharp kid. He's come in here and he's worked extremely hard and has really learned the system, and he's making plays. So hopefully he can keep it up.
Clinton as a blocker, was he the blocker he is now when he was with you in Denver?
He's always been a very physical back. When he was in college, he would, you know, blow people up. Takes a lot of pride in that. And, you know, like we talked about, there's only one way you get to be a consistent running back in the National Football League after you get a few miles on you, and that's a great off season. And that gives him a chance to have a heck of a year, and hopefully he does.
Do you get through the whole practice in 45 minutes? Or
Pardon me?
you got to go back and finish up? When you review the practice, do you get through the whole thing in 45 minutes, or do you have to go back and...
Well, no, we look at it. It probably takes about 3 hours. You know, you take a look at the schemes, you know, offense and defense. You look at the personnel. You're trying to evaluate everybody on every play. So not only are you looking at the schemes, but you're trying to look at each player to see what type of day they had, and it just takes some time. I know most of you guys get that by watching from the field, but I got to look at film.
When Clinton was in Denver, he made it a habit of making big, long runs.
Mm-hmm.
The first play he was here, he had a 64-yard touchdown run, and we haven't seen much of that in 5-6 years he's been here. With the lost weight, with the improved training, even at his advanced age for a running back, can he go back to being that type of Denver running back with the explosive long runs?
I'm sure hoping so. Yeah. I'm sure hoping he does that. If not, he won't be a running back. But now that's our plan anyhow, and I think it's his plan.